Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's video. Today, we're going to be discussing the topic of starting over in tabla. Basically, this is for more people that consider themselves advanced. I'm talking about that moment that you finally realize that you've been doing something wrong for multiple years on end. And you kind of have two options. You can come to terms with it, accept it, and move on and really improve your tabla playing. Or you can kind of, brush it under the rug and just pretend like you never noticed it or never realized it. So that's kind of the topic of today's video. Now, before I get into any of that, there's a link in the description to a community I've made on the platform Skool. This is really for those that want to pay for lessons. They want to invest in their playing. This is the year that, they want to stop stalling with their tabla journey. They just really want to move forward and move ahead. Well, we have the community for you and it's perfect. So click the link in the description and join us at the Skool community. Now, what do I mean by starting over? So what I'm going to talk about today is mainly the Baya today. And I was making a mistake where I was playing different compositions, different Relas, and I was starting the Baya with the wrong finger. Now, I always thought that people that were discussing what finger you start with, I like to be very free-flowing with my tabla. I don't like to be tied down with too much, direction on how to play. I always thought that, I'll just play whatever is familiar to me. But what happens is over time, I started using these two fingers more than ever starting with the index finger. And starting with the index finger became really weak to me. And only about 2 or 3 months ago did I finally start working on starting just various things with this index slide right here. Still a bit weak, but it was difficult. I had to basically start completely over on a lot of different Relas. And we're going to get into that. One in particular, I had just gotten over to 100 BPM, which was really fast. Then I realized, hey, I'm only playing this with these two fingers. I had to start all the way back at 65 BPM. So it was a bit difficult. The main thing that gets affected is the ego. But really, that doesn't matter. For me, I just wanted the richest, most full-sounding Baya. So I had no problem, starting over, especially when I realized that by strengthening my index finger, I could really just get an overall just great tone out of the Baya, great expression, really. Because as we know, many people when they start playing tabla, they're dazzled by, dhere dhere, dhene gene, all that stuff. But we really know it's the Baya that behind the scenes is really managing the show. So much feeling, comes out of the Baya. And later on in your tabla journey, you really learn that more and more. So let's get to the first composition that we're going to talk about today. It actually is the ghege tete one that I've talked about before. Let's take a look. So this is it here. Ghege tete ghene dhine nana ghene dhagi tete ghege tete ghene dhine nana ghene tinne nana ghene nagate rekete nati ghege tak dhine nati ghege tak dhine nana ghene. So this goes like this. So you can really start. This is a composition I've kind of modified from the original Ustad Habibuddin Khan one. But I was always starting with this, so it would go. But now what I've realized is this finger is really weak, so I'm starting. So really, there is definitely a right way to do it, but for most people listening, I would try to figure out which one is more difficult to do. If this is harder to do, then practice playing it this way. So the whole thing goes like ghege tete ghene. So a little bit faster. And now I'll start it with the other way. So this is now, I haven't played it this way in a while, so this has kind of become unfamiliar to me, but So it's almost now difficult to play it this way. But I will say I should be able to do it both ways. That's kind of one of the main points I want to make about this one. So this is really good to practice. I'll play it just a few more times. A little bit faster. So there are definitely some mistakes in there. You know, when I tried to switch back to playing it the old way, I couldn't. So that's kind of what I want to avoid. And this is my own personal choice. I want to be able to do all different permutations and combinations. So that may not be, you know, how you want to do it in your own personal journey. You may just want to find the right way, so to say, and just continue on that. But that's not really my personal preference. So I'm going to now show you a clip of me playing this same kind of thing, the original first phrase of this that I made many years ago. And this kind of shows how difficult it was for me to change after so many years of playing this. So let's take a look. So that's just a brief, I didn't show the double speed, but this was 5 years ago that I uploaded this. So it was very difficult to make that change to using the index finger, but in the last couple of months, I found just a lot of benefit in my Baya. Now today, for some reason, this Baya is not really speaking very loudly. It could be because the humidity or whatever, but it's a bit better than it sounds in this video. I'll say it that way. The Baya that I've developed sounds a little bit better than what is recorded today. So we're gonna look at a really good Baya exercise that I did that really helped me kind of transform my Baya in just a couple of months. So let's take a look at that. So this is very simple, and we start with the index finger. So you want to really do this. You really want to work on this slide right here. And I've heard people in Banaras, the Banaras tabla players, they really work on this quite a bit. So bit faster. Even faster. Trying to make sure this doesn't move, but it keeps moving. But one more time. Whew, so that is not the easiest exercise. And I've said many times, I use a timer, and when that gets fast, it's really, really intense. But then, you know, just the volume that you can produce later on, once your index finger is really developed, is really quite astonishing. So we're going to now take a look. I mentioned Banaras tabla players. We're going to take a look at Higadhinam. And I'm going to show you the strokes that they play in the Banaras style. But before we do that, let's take a look at Pandit Kumar Bose playing this exact composition. So Dhigedina was another composition that I've uploaded, onto YouTube probably 8-9 years ago. And guess what? The way I was playing it on the Baya was completely wrong. And this was another thing that I'm still currently developing this, but I realized that I was playing the Baya wrong, and it was just a bit of a difficult pill to swallow that I kind of had to start again just from very, very slow speeds. So this is how it's meant to be played. Let's take a look at the bowls and then I'll demonstrate it. I'm pretty sure many of you all already know this. So it goes like this. So the first dhigedina, I know we talked a lot about sliding, but it doesn't actually start with the index like this. It starts with, so these two. So but here, dhagina dhigetinana. So this dhagina, this is where the index will come. So a little bit, and for almost all the dhaginas, in the Banaras style, I believe they start from here. So let's take a look at this. The entire thing goes like. I think I started one dhagina wrong, but like I said, I'm still working on this one. I thought I knew it, but I guess I don't. So let me play it a few more times and kind of demonstrate it. How about a little bit faster? Let's go even a bit faster than that. So I'm still kind of getting used to how the Baya, is played, in that it is very different. I would just play whatever I wanted. I didn't even really have any consideration on which finger you start with, how the dhagina is. So like I said, it's kind of frustrating, especially like I said in the beginning of this video, if you consider yourself advanced. But hey, I just had to kind of like get over it. Hey, I was playing it wrong. Let me accept that and let me just move forward. And that really has been difficult, but I think overall it'll be really good for me. So let's now take a look at another great way to improve the Baya. I believe it's an exercise. Let's take a look. So this is a great way to work on pulling back on the Baya. It goes like this. Dhati ghena. And on both of these, you're pulling back on the Baya. I'll demonstrate it. Dhati ghena, dhati dhag tunna kena. Dhati ghena, dhati dhag tunna kena. So, like this. So, you notice that both dhati ghenas. Like that. So, dhati ghena. I believe I played one was supposed to be tun. I think I played it as like almost a dhinna. So let me play it one more time. A bit faster. So I guess that's a lot faster, but I've really found a lot of great development for the Baya with this. So I am changing one tunna. I'm not really playing the cut there. I just find it a little bit easier. But I think, even this is just another example that I probably should slow it back down again. See, as you practice, one thing to really know is you'll make a lot of benefits. You'll really improve your playing with your practice. But there will be some things that will actually get worse. I know that sounds strange. I'm practicing, but things are getting worse. It's kind of like a pattern you're repeating over and over again. So it's really important to identify, yes, I did get better with practice. For example, on this one, I really did get a lot better with pulling back on the Baya, but some things got worse. One tun, kind of the cut, I stopped playing, which I thought made it easier to play faster. But I probably should go back again and fix that and play the cut. So this is just kind of an example of how really you should kind of revise the progress that you've made and see, has anything kind of gone wrong, basically. So let's now take a look at the next exercise, I believe. Actually, it's not an exercise, it's a Rela. So this Rela, I've been talking about now for probably 6 months, maybe soon it'll be a year. It's the easiest Rela to know. Dhati ghete ghete ghete. Everyone should know this and everyone should be playing it. In fact, let's listen to a clip of Anubrata Chatterjee playing this. So it's so simple. Dhati ghete ghete ghete, like this. A bit faster. Even faster. Even faster than that, just to kind of inspire you guys to practice this. Play it a little bit more. There we go. So this Rela, I had posted one time. I didn't know where it came from. Someone that commented said that it's from Ustad Karamutullah Khansab. I have never seen him play this. If anyone has a link, feel free to comment it below. But this one is just so good. I tried to figure out what this was for years and years, and I couldn't figure it out. And now that I finally know it, I practice it regularly. I can still get a bit mixed up with the ghete ghete, the sync between it. But there's just so much good about this Rela. For example, it's so simple, the bowls, the Baya. I feel like I'm almost trying to sell you guys on playing this. Play it if you want. If you don't like the way it sounds, then don't. But, there's just so much good. The Baya, you're constantly working it. 2-finger tete, you're getting the Baya and Daya in sync. There's that. And it's just so much fun to play. You can drop this in a fusion set, you're playing somewhere, and it just sounds great. It has a bass pumping effect. I've really come to enjoy it, and it's not actually too difficult to learn. Takes probably 30 hours, and you can get a handle on it. And I know that may sound like a long time, but that's literally just a month of an hour a day of this. In the grand scheme of things, it's really not very long. And then, like I did in the intro, I actually mixed another phrase, dha dha dinigine dinigine dinigine. So I mixed dhati ghete 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 dha dha dinigine dinigine dinigine. So that even faster would be. So the point is you can really have a lot of fun with this Rela. You know, it's just fantastic, and it's rare as well. So those are like 50 reasons I just gave you on why this should really be in your practice repertoire. And one thing I will say about tabla playing in general, I know I just, gave you a lot of reasons to practice this, but, there's a large chance many of you all won't. The reason why I am practicing this is because it took me many years to even figure out what the bowls were. I assume when I heard it, it must be something crazy, some bowl maybe I haven't even learned yet. I just kept trying different things, trying to figure out. When I finally learned what it was so simple, but it was really the journey of the quest of trying to find it out for so long that makes me keep practicing this. And I kind of do understand the idea that I just give up bowls so freely. There's no real journey, I guess, in your own discovery and trying to find them. So it may not be as impactful for you all as it is for me to practice this. But still, you should really take my recommendation and just practice this. It's rare and it's fun, and it kind of just changes the dynamic in your tabla solos or fusion, wherever you're playing. So these are some great phrases to practice on the Baya. Thank you.